boom, boom, boom.
Sausage and fun.
And yeah, I hit the wrong intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone who can hear the sound of my voice to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we discuss several Bigfoot videos and tonight's topic, which is Jimmy Hoffa. Joining me, as always, from the Emerald Isle, Kevin.
We have to call it sausage in a bap. Sausage in a bap.
It's a cob, sausage in a cob. Let's just get that one sorted right now. I'll die on this hill. And from Tennessee, Nikki.
Hey, Phil's in the audience.
Yep. Hey, Phil. Hey, SoFlo. Hey, Lance.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Nikki. You're in the chat as well.
Thanks. Hi to you.
Good on you. And if you enjoy, Kevin and Nikki may enjoy the bad we do on this adventures of two Bigfoot. Head on over to Bigfooting with Keith and Colin, where this week's The Wendigo's redesign shall be revealed. Without further ado, I am your host, Richard Judas Allen. Let's get on with it. Our first video comes from... Oh, this turnip.
Okay. The internet.
Let's just
YouTube.
Get this over with. This is from the Daily Dan blog. I include this video because Kevin and Nikki love him, but his voice literally gives me ear cancer. Go.
Greetings, YouTube. Katie State. On the Daily Dan blog. I'm deep in the woods. Near a place called Mirtwood. I'm freaking out and I'm tripping. I'd come down trails and I've been making videos in this place for the last 3 days. 4 days I've been down here. Every day in these woods, tripping. Every day looking for the elusive Sasquatch. I was just coming down the trailhead a few minutes ago, and I saw a huge, hairy, black shape run through the woods. I got my camera out and started as quick as I could, and now the Daily Dan is in pursuit of Sasquatch.
So he's in pursuit of something he saw 4 days ago. Well,
Look, you can see
that's pretty average for police response times, though, to be fair.
Not at all. Not at all. You know, Daily Dan... I think Daily Dan's been watching this podcast. I think he is, because there's a certain part of the video where he talks about a stick structure, and he clearly talks about the type of things that I talk about whenever I'm looking for stick structures. I think Dan is
really. Yeah. He talks about the stuff you talk about. Yeah. He pulls the video, look up into the sky, and say, "Ooh, there's a pterodactyl."
No, he doesn't say that. But he does say right here.
I didn't approach it or have a look at it, but
Richard is going full bore. He's coming out first thing in the.
There's no way like that.
Well, we have to realize that Richard is.
You two were mean to me in the pre-show, so you're just getting it all guns blazing.
That's very interesting.
Pumpkin.
No, plus we have to realize that there is a certain matter of England losing the Euro Cup on penalties, which I wasn't going to bring up, but since...
All right. You want to go there? Fine. We'll go there. Yes, we lost the Euro Cup on penalties, okay? But it was the last penalty in the game, and I think we did bloody well. And it was a 19-year-old lad, and it was just too much pressure to put on his shoulders. Okay? And he choked.
No, believe me, I have a son. I am the father of 2 goalkeepers, and one who's played in Northern Ireland, and I couldn't watch it. I literally thought up until that point that England was going to win. And the end of the match, focusing on penalties, the goalkeeper of that team, it's not your responsibility, mate. It's to save it or whatever. It's and people miss penalties. There's so much pressure on them. It's not fair, but that's not going to mean that I'm not going to give you crap about it. No, they do. They did incredibly well, and to lose on penalties is devastating.
To be honest with you, Kevin, towards the end of that game, I didn't really care who won and lost anymore. I just wanted it over with. It was just such a nervous wreck. It was so horrible. It was like 1-1 for the majority of the game, including extra time, and I was just like, just end it already. Just make it stop.
Yeah. Well, the extra time thing, whenever you're adding on extra time, the extra half an hour of time at the end of the match is really a tough one. Because
Yeah.
everybody plays so conservatively. They want to go to penalties. You so just get there. You know what I mean? And all it does is get the. I mean, I would imagine that beer sales went up in that last, half an hour of extra time. Quite a lot. But anyway.
Definitely. Anyway, back to the Daily Dan.
So
I'm pretty sure
he does say that whenever he sees that stick structure,
I saw Bigfoot just now.
that it's not
and I didn't have the camera running. Son of a bitch!
It's not cut off. It's twisted off.
I miss it.
So,
but I guess I didn't get a real good look at it.
Was looking
it was just
for that
big hairy shape, a dark thing moving through the woods for speed, like it was running from me. And I wasn't even talking.
Do I believe that he really saw a dark thing looking through the woods? If I'm being honest.
These goddamn Murt Woods. This place is like Sasquatch Central. It's the one place. Well, what a big.
Kevin is a disbeliever in the Daily Dan.
No, I like Daily Dan's videos. I don't think it presents anything to do with Bigfoot evidence. I like Daily Dan's videos.
Me too. I love him. He's got such like a charisma, and also I don't know. I think maybe he needs an inhaler.
Did you hear that?
Poor baby.
Yeah.
He gets so excited and then he gets, out of breath.
Up in front of me. It's like the son of a bitch knows I'm on his trail and he screamed at me. That's fucking crazy.
Oh,
every time that I see there, I was listening to the parts where he's like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" There was one bit where I actually heard something over his voice where it sounded like something made a noise.
Oh, goddamn. Look at this. This is one of these bent over trees. That's ironic that this is right on the trail.
Because that can't happen in nature at all, Dan.
Just ran out.
It's right. It's ironic that it's over a trail.
Yeah, I am with you on that one. You heard me go, ugh. Structures like, they just don't do it for me.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I don't think he's on the trail. I think that we can see the trail off in the distance about 50 yards the whole time.
To being on the trail of Bigfoot.
That's the trail right there. You can see it.
So far up now, I don't know which way it went from here.
Basically, Dan went to the trail, walked into the woods, probably 100 feet or something like that. Now he's walking towards the trail. And that's where he decides he's going to end the video walking back towards the trail.
Well,
a lot of people in the comments.
Good old Daily Dan. You two seem to like his videos.
I think he's wonderful. Like, I just want to hug him. I don't even know what he looks like or what. I just want his voice alone. I want to hug him.
Yeah, and
I'm picturing a larger guy with a big, long ZZ Top beard.
Me too.
Okay,
which makes me want to hug him more.
That's even more awesome.
Right? It doesn't not want to, like, you just want to hug him more. If that's his voice and that's his aesthetic, yes, please.
Yes. And he gives all his money to the Shriners Hospital, which makes me think that if, Daily Dan is a Shriner and he is driving around one of those little cars in a parade with a fake ZZ Top thing, I want to hang out with that guy.
Isn't that basically what you have to look like to get into Shriners anyway?
They have a dress code. It's pretty.
Is that not? Yeah, is that not like a prerequisite?
Well, no. Imagine ZZ Top with a fez on.
Hell yeah, I know.
In a 4th of July parade. How could you not love that?
Have you not been to one of their parades? I mean, that's basically, at least in the South, what it be looking like.
I would be more interested in seeing what Daily Dan looks like than Sasquatch.
I'm just saying, big, large dude with long ass ZZ Top beard. That's what his voice says to me, and the
And
fact
a
that he
bad-
smokes cigars as well. That just sort of screams ZZ Top beard.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I-
anyway, this next video,
Is my favorite.
yeah, it's your favorite because it's 20 seconds long.
I know, isn't it wonderful?
Not in terms of content. It's
Right.
just because
No,
it's
the
20
content
seconds.
shit, it was just 20 seconds. Which
God.
is still like, I don't know, 15 seconds past my attention span, but I made it.
Okay, well, let's watch the video.
What were we talking about?
This I sent this one to Phil as well, in case he wanted something to break down this week, because
I love how they circle like the non-Sasquatch. If you notice that, there's like what looks like a Sasquatch, and then they're just circling the shadow in the background, like a fucking bear or something.
well, I don't know about you two, but I'm convinced. Let's watch that again. It's only 20 seconds. Here we go.
Oh, by the
There's
way,
Bigfoot.
did we ever?
Look,
did we
check out-
ever-
It's a bear.
Oh yeah. Did we ever see the Kelly Shaw video? Did he ever figure out how that we could see the rest of that video? The thing in the water last
No,
week?
he's yet to upload the rest of that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Surprisingly, so.
Totally exists. You just can't figure it out. I feel
Right.
sorry for the guy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't get me started on Kelly Shaw.
He's your favorite. I get it.
Yeah, you love his voice too.
hmm
I don't like either of you today. I realise that it's all gang up on Richard Day, but
It
It's
really
not-
has been, and I feel kind of bad, but not enough to stop.
No,
Fair
no. Let's explain. We're the same as we always are. You are in a lot of pain this week,
It's true.
and we're not directing this at you at all. You're just internalizing it.
You're menstruating.
wow. Anyway, let's go on to our next video. This one was Nikki's favorite. She said a lot of positive things about this to me.
Yeah,
So I'm sure she wants to watch it again.
I freaking love this video.
Looking forward to this one.
Federación Panamá,
She's speaking Argentina.
the river. Just walking around. And there's a bunch of tracks like shoes. There's more shoes.
High quality video.
Somebody walked around here. Then it gets kind of strange.
Yeah, everybody knows that vertical filming is
Yeah,
top-notch filming.
Look at that.
That's how you're supposed to hold your
No
phone.
shoes.
I didn't know if anybody knew that or not, but
Yeah.
Dogs.
Well, I like the fact that he
Lots of shoes.
can deduce that people are walking.
Over here is the city. Just beyond here, you can see everybody walking along the coast. Okay.
my finger points.
Looking
That's what
around
Richard does
here.
all day long.
I do a lot of pointing.
He just
There's no
points.
shoe mark here.
Okay,
Yeah.
this kills me.
You come here. Look at this. See the middle ridge here? Middle ridge?
I'm interested to hear what your
It's a
theory about what this
There's
is.
someone's walking around with their
Mine?
shoes off.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Or
hear what it is?
Or
Like,
I'm
no,
explaining the print here.
yeah, no, I do
So
want to hear
this-
what it is because I think I figured
no
out
shoe.
what exactly it is.
It's
I
even
know
stranger.
exactly what it
Over
is.
here.
If you watch later on in the video, he puts his
It's
foot
the
up
same one.
beside the footprints. And his whole thing
Same
is like,
ridge line.
oh no, it's someone without
It does.
shoes. It's without shoes. It's Bigfoot. No, dude,
pretty
it's
big.
the same size as his foot. He could have just been walking around without his shoes on.
a nice
I've walked
try.
in the mud
Full
without my
stretch there.
shoes on. Look at that.
He doesn't even need to walk
Let's
around
go
without
here.
his shoes on. He could just put his shoe down, then use his finger to scoop
That is
out
not a
that.
shoe
That's
either.
true.
That is
That's true.
that is
Look at
clearly a
the
shoe
same
print
one.
right there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
him. It's the same size as
3,
his foot.
4.
He's
Whatever
really
it is,
stretching.
it's huge.
He's really stretching.
I'm a
Although
small
it's
guy.
huge, he's a small guy, but he
I'm in
can
a
do
full
it.
stretch. Look at this.
He just
Here we go, here.
replicated the fact
Yeah,
that it's
shoot.
possible for a human to do.
Right there.
Yep.
That's weird. Look at all those. Look at all those freaking claw marks right there. Come on, people.
Come on,
Whatever you
people.
see
What? Yeah, we're
is
stupid
gigantic.
for
And it
not
walked
believing
right
in
through here.
Bigfoot. And by the way, vertical filming is a crime. Okay, it's not a bloody dressing down. It is illegal in 48 states.
I'm gonna start
So
sending you
hold
videos of me just
Yeah.
vertical filming
There you
stuff. Because now it
Oh,
sounds like a good time.
No, it triggers me. I hate vertical film.
And here we go.
I would say I came up with a different
More of this
scenario,
bridge.
although yours would make the most sense
Explain
technically
that.
that it would be that. But
He's
I
telling else.
actually came up with a different theory
walking
based
around
on
with
the
feet off, I doubt
information
it.
that he
I
provided.
swear to
One-
God, if you're about to tell me a real Bigfoot walk
Doubt
through
it.
there.
Look at that.
no, it's not a real Bigfoot.
Look at this
Okay.
stride here.
First of all, he's sitting there
I'm
saying
in a
that
full stretch right here.
that the next to the town is the
Look at
water.
this.
The ocean is over there, and
1, 2, 3,
uh,
4.
um,
This is
and
a
he
big
says
stride
nobody
here.
would walk
Full stretch,
barefoot in
pretty much
in
like Van Damme.
nature, which is clearly not true either. But
Then
if
come
you
over
were
here.
walking towards the
Look
water,
at this too.
would you put on a pair
Someone's walking
of
around their shoes off? I
Vibram
don't think so.
5-finger shoes?
Somebody really tall.
Look them up.
Oh yeah, I
And,
love those. I love those.
yeah.
Here's the last
So
one.
they're made for people who do water sports and go into the water and
once
everything
again,
like
that's
that.
what we
So
got.
it's walking towards the water there, and also sandals and shoes like that are known to create suction points in the mud. And anybody who's ever walked in the mud knows that. I mean, this is the thing that I was frustrated. I was saying to my wife earlier today, do none of these people ever spend any time at all in nature at all and have walked through wet mud? That the middle part of your foot creates suction. That is the way that it is. And so when you make a footprint and you suck up out of the mud, it draws up the mid part of the foot. It makes it look like you've got a metatarsal break. Of course, not to mention that 68% of people actually have a mid-tarsal break in the population as is. This is, I get so frustrated anymore by the lack of freaking even awareness about feet. Not to mention this video. It's bullshit.
You need chubs.
Yeah. Well, no, it was a nice thing. He's wearing a nice sweater at the end. And I like that he did walk past the guy getting. Did you notice the guy in the car that was just sitting there just getting fucked up with the white car when he's walking past? Yeah, they're just sitting in there drinking. That was great. Maybe I love that part. But yeah, no, I mean, it's like,
We need
stop
chubs
it.
because we need positivity in this podcast.
We
We
really
do
do.
take them.
No, I'm just saying it, at a certain point in time, you look like an idiot. I mean, he's saying that he's an international Bigfooter and he doesn't understand how walking in the mud affects a footprint. Anybody that's been in the Army or in the Boy Scouts or anything like that can tell you how walking in the mud will affect a footprint. And this guy's putting himself up as some kind of expert. And clearly, I don't know if he's ever walked off pavement a day in his life. Rant is over. I'm sorry.
I appreciate the rant.
Well, he was clearly in the reeds, man, so he had been outside. You know, he was there. He was filming. He was on location.
Yes.
On a road. On a
Yes.
dirt road.
Feet on the ground. Feet's on the
Boots
ground.
on the ground.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Boots with Bigfoot prints attached to them.
I mean, I'm guessing that, that the whole point of this thing is not to prove Bigfoot exists. It's to get people to like the fact that you're in Argentina and places like that. That's great. I mean, I love it. Go go spend some time in Argentina and everything like that. And perhaps due to some of the different things, you could write this off as a business expense. I mean,
Got to
America's
knock
got some
penguins.
well, yeah, no, I'm just saying America's got some very liberal, business expense laws for deducting things from your taxes. Clearly, maybe that's what this is, but it's not Bigfoot evidence. If you need tax advice, please call me on 425. I'm kidding.
Are you though?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. Wealth management by Kevin.
Okay, so onwards to the topic. Jimmy Hoffa, which was your shout, Kevin. So, want to
What?
give us basic laydown of the topic?
It was Fred in the chat. Was it? Who was it?
Yeah,
Fred.
and then you said I know a lot about that, and I said, well,
No,
you can
no.
take.
Yeah, no. Obviously, Jimmy Hoffa, is a kind of an interesting character because, in a lot of ways, he tried to play both sides of the fence. At a certain point in time, you would say that he was obviously head of the Teamsters Union, and so at that point in time, the money that was in the Teamsters Union, the dues and everything like that, got put into different accounts, and those monies were then moved over to organized crime to fund different things and different projects, like Las Vegas casinos and everything like that. Now, the question about Jimmy Hoffa is, did he, was he ever on the side of the Teamsters, or was he solely on the side of the mafia, or was he caught somewhere in the middle and the government caught him sort of doing these backroom deals with the mafia, and then they were going to put the screws to him? So Hoffa then ends up, I think, deciding that he makes a statement, that when after he goes to prison, gets out of prison, that it's not the mafia's, he's not going to play the mafia's ways anymore. The rules, by the way it is, and he's going to care about the Teamsters, and he's going to handle it in that situation. At which point in time, the mafia seems to have decided that you got to get rid of Jimmy Hoffa. And so Jimmy Hoffa ends up going to a location in Michigan for a meeting, and he goes to a restaurant. That's the last time anybody's seen him. He's seen in a car with 4 people, and he just disappears off the face of the planet. One of the guys who basically has put the story together says that he was taken to a house in Michigan, sort of killed, cut up, and disposed of around that area, and they've never found the bodies, the body, so that they did know what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. And so it basically at that point in time, became a big source of mystery. But it's not like Hoffa hadn't gone to jail for sort of his ties and misuse of the Teamsters money, and so I mean it's a tough thing to figure out who actually would have had the biggest reason to kill him. Was it the Teamsters themselves? Was it a member of the Teamsters that had gone bad? Was it a member of the mafia that had gone bad? Was it some weird combination of the fact that he was under scrutiny from the FBI at that point in time? I mean, it seems like the only person who was interested in having Jimmy Hoffa still be alive was Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who has it, but I think that that's the thing. Whenever you're in a situation where you're doing so much basic criminality, um, you've got um, you've got so many enemies at that point in time. It's like, yeah, there's,
He
it's almost like
JFK'd it for sure.
you're spoiled for choice as to who wanted to kill Jimmy Hoffa. Everybody did, you know?
Everybody wanted to kill him.
Right. And so I think that's why we can't figure out who did it. You know? And that's the thing that's always interesting about that. You don't want to get drawn in, but this is the way that mafia things always go down, because you end up with several people who have a very big reason to try to get rid of you, and then you end up taking the fall. I mean, you can make the same case for John DeLorean building the DeLorean factory in Belfast. He was paying people off, and then at that point in time, he takes the fall for supposedly wanting to buy all these drugs, and then he ends up going to jail. And so everybody else who was taking protection money and everything else off him that gets off scotch-free. Nobody thinks about that, and that's it. Was Jimmy Hoffa the scapegoat, or was he the criminal mastermind, or both? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think he was a mastermind or a scapegoat. I think he was a con man that just ripped off too many people. As you said, he just made too many enemies. The Teamsters were mad at him. The government was mad at him. The mafia were pissed off at him. I mean, it just comes to a certain point where you're like, you're going to die.
Right. And I think that this is part of the thing. And we're talking about a period of time where, obviously, after the whole idea of the mob being hired by the U.S. government to get rid of Fidel Castro, there's a weird connection between all these things for about a period of 10 years. You know what I mean? So, did the mob kill Kennedy? Did the mob not kill Kennedy? Did the mob get in on trying to get rid of Fidel Castro? And did the mob have a reason to kill Kennedy because, they were I mean, you know what I'm saying? There was that weird time in American history, the 70s, the late 60s and early 70s, where it just seemed like it was like untetherable. You didn't know whose side was on any side. And, and I don't know, it wasn't until sort of Reagan, I guess, that everybody felt like that time was over. But, it was just a weird time. So, I mean, and it is strange that people don't seem to realize that that I think crime in those days was far more prevalent than it is now. It seems like, statistically speaking. But these people were just like icing people all over the place. I mean, it seems like I wouldn't have wanted to live in the inner cities in the 1970s. I mean, not that you would now, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, it's just a weird sort of scenario where we know everything that happens now, and we didn't really know much about it then because it wasn't a 24-hour news cycle. So some of these stories become hugely important where they may not have been, and some of them don't, and it's just strange to me. But it just sounded like at that point in time, that whole what we now call the Rust Belt was so full of corruption and crime that there was a lot of money being made by different folks, and that money was being sucked out and put somewhere else. I mean, it's an interesting thing to say. Why did Detroit fail? Was it because of some of these actions of different groups, Teamsters groups and automotive groups and different types of things like that? I don't know the answer. I mean,
well, a lot of them were just fronts, weren't they? I mean, they weren't actually doing what they said they were doing. They were just fronts.
Yeah.
for various criminal enterprises.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it sounds to me like if Jimmy Hoffa would have kept along with, sort of green lighting, taking money uh, out of the Teamsters pension fund to keep on doing these different things, and he hadn't made a stand against it, that Hoffa probably would be still alive.
Well, he
And
didn't. It's not that he took a stand. It's he didn't have any choice. I mean, he was going to prison, so he ratted certain people out, people you can't rat out, and those people, they withdrew their support for the Teamsters, which pissed the Teamsters off, and the government were also angry at him as well because, as I said, he'd ripped off quite a lot of money from the pension funds for the mafia. So it was just this whole vicious circle. And that's why I think he was a con man and not like a criminal mastermind.
yeah, well, it is interesting that you get to this is sort of the last era before computers, where everything is done by computers, and there seems to be some kind of I mean, computers make things harder and not, but I mean, obviously double bookkeeping and being able to have two different accounting systems and things to me seems to be like in America, the last time when you would have had that much wealth that was not sort of actually accounted for in some way or another, where you could actually back forensically and go back and see how that worked. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's why the 70s and were so criminal. I don't know. America had a lot of wealth, and not a lot of easy ways of getting into figuring out the bookkeeping of different major organizations like that. I mean, it seems like to me they always get caught.
Yeah.
But a lot of these different things happen at the sort of end of, at the end of these different eras where, you've got movies like Casino and the Irishman and things like that, where they talk about sort of some of these mobster groups in Kansas City and everything like that, bringing out money to Las Vegas and those different things. Whereas whenever the things changed and they were bought out by, say, Las Vegas was bought out by like MGM groups and things like that, the way that was funded was all changed, but had grown up. I mean, I don't know. Nikki's being awfully quiet.
I was listening and talking to chat.
Oh. Does chat have a theory about how I'm wrong? Robert Walker, who's came up with it last week. That's who it was. Is Robert Walker there?
No, he's not.
No, I haven't seen him.
See, that's how it is. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You want to hear about DB? I mean, not DB Cooper.
No, SoFlo came up with DB Cooper, and he was here.
Yeah, that's right.
It's okay if someone's not here. You don't know what came up in his life.
No, I understand. Well, no, I understand what happened.
Busting his balls, dude.
I'm not. It's the same thing. We all know what happened to. I mean, let's look at it this way, right? We are obviously conspiracy Bigfoot people in this group. I mean, the three of us have talked about conspiracies of Bigfoot. We all know what happened. Bob Gimlin ate him.
Bob Gimlin ate him. Call back from 2 weeks ago.
Yes. What I'm saying is
exactly what happened.
Yes, Bob Gimlin was in the
70s.
Yes. The government called Bob Gimlin and said, you need to get your ass to Michigan right now because this cat's sitting in the parking lot of this restaurant. And you know what to do, Bob.
You know what to do. They just pushed like a knife and fork towards him. Make him go away, Gimlin. One last job for old times.
Yeah. I really, really do want to make the tragical history of Bob Gimlin, where he goes around solving the United States government's problems
by eating them.
Yeah, where he,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no evidence that Bob Gimlin wasn't on the Mac Brazel Ranch in Roswell, New Mexico either. Show me the proof he wasn't there.
Yeah, the government could have a time machine. They're like, ugh, we've got some aliens. Needed to go there and eat them gimmers.
Oh no, but Bob Gimlin would have been alive then. You know what I mean? He would have been just in his infancy. But Bob Gimlin has solved the Americans' problem. I'm pretty sure you noticed another thing. You never saw the body of bin Laden, did you? And you don't know where you have no idea where
wow.
You have no idea where Bob Gimlin was on 5/1.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, they were like, okay, we've got this body, Gimlin, we're calling you back into service, mate. Make him go away. Nom 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 nom. Man, I think Russell McCord is going to sue us,
For what?
To that point.
I'm saying a fantasy historical document. That's all I'm saying. I'm not actually accusing Bob of any of this. I'm not. No. I'm just saying
the fact that we've talked about nothing else for 3 weeks. We're not accusing Bob Gimlin of eating any Bigfoot, D.B. Cooper, or Jimmy Hoffa.
That's right.
Wink.
No, it's clearly, it's a tip of the hat. It's a tip of the hat to Mr. Gimlin. That's all.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a way to shit on possibly the stupidest Bigfoot conspiracy I've ever heard of.
Right. And by again parodying another person's idea, parody is a accepted form of protest and comedy. And that's
the massacre theory an idea. I don't want to give it that much credence.
Well, no, clearly
they're parodying some dumb stuff someone once said.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying that you have to look at it from that. We have a show. It's a very small program, right? But there are people who are sort of proponents of this idea and who said so, that have followers in the hundreds of thousands. And so that is a sad commentary. I would imagine that they would actually sue them first before 3 people who are just making fun of those people.
MK Davis might sue us. He's the type. I'm MK Davis, and Bob Gimlin ate a load of Bigfoot.
Well, I mean, I don't think that MK Davis would do himself any favors by targeting 3 people at a very small podcast. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't do it. But
the time we talked about the massacre theory is one of our most popular podcasts. I still get comments on it to this day, and it was like a year ago.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that's clear about that is you'd have to prove that Bigfoot existed for that to be true. And then B, you'd have to prove that happened after that. So, I mean, a theoretical story about a theoretical thing is a kind of a double part away from being true. Now, if he believes that, and he truly believes that, then the idea of knocking that down comes into play. So how would you knock it down? One is to prove Bigfoot exists, and then therefore, if you prove that the Patterson-Gimlin film was real, which nobody has done, then you could move on to the next stage of then proving that they again took on this heinous thing, right? So
Right.
again, this is one of those things where they have a vested interest in saying that the Patterson Gimlin film is real. Otherwise, their theory falls completely apart. No Bigfoot, no crime. So therefore they're going to say, "Oh yeah, no, I totally believe it's real." And I've watched some of the proponents of this, other than MK Davis, who say in the last week, "Oh, that film is 100% real, 100% real," and they'd have to say that. They'd have to say that for then their idea to go fully on. So to the average person, does it matter to me if the Patterson Gimlin film is false? No, because I believe I've seen a Bigfoot, and that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. But to some people, everything that they've ever said about Bigfoot hinges on that film, right? So, like I said, we said this before. The easiest thing for Bob Gimlin to do is come out and say, no, it wasn't fake. You know what I mean? At that point in time, then that sort of alleviates him of the idea of murdering Bigfoot and people. I mean, it's not just Bigfoot that they're supposed to have murdered. It's other people too, which is just heinous.
It's metal as hell. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I like that just for a second. Richard's like, what?
I've never heard of the part of the massacre theory where other people died.
Well, yeah, I mean, not at the time. In other words, I don't even want to say it because it's let's just say this, that as part of the massacre theory and some person knowing about it, who then later on believed in that theory, then caused that person to be supposedly murdered. And that's just way beyond anything that's even remotely clear. And if you're interested in that subject, you can look at the videos of said person that we referred to earlier and find out that he's that basically he's saying that happened. So I don't know. It seemed to me like if anybody had any money, they would be suing that individual for that. But maybe that's the case. I mean, America's got some funny laws about slander and libel. Basically, if you are a known public figure, as is Bob, as is MK Davis, he's been on television. He's understood that to be that. They both have. Basically, you could make all kinds of crap up about him, and you can get away with it because it's a public figure. You know what I mean? So this whole idea of libel and slander has some weird effects in American law, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not an expert.
Good one. Like it. Very well played.
I mean, yeah.
We've gone ridiculously off topic here.
We did go far off topic, but I did want to say that
it's because I like D.B. Cooper. I like the legend of D.B. Cooper, and I like the topic before that. And I don't really care all that much about Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, he was a moron that just made so many enemies. It's obvious that the mafia had him killed. We'll never know for sure who specifically had him killed, and we'll never know where his body is, but we know what happened to him.
Right.
He's hardly living in Barbados with a false mustache, calling himself not Jimmy.
Yeah, but the thing that is always funny is that we want to believe based on different things that people made it. You know what I mean? It's the whole idea of the Brushy Bill being Billy the Kid, and Robert Redford, Butch and Sundance, made it and came back to America. It's
They
all
did not. They were brutally shot to death by like the entire army.
right. I understand that, but people will
Does
still
anyone
say,
think they made out of there alive?
"Oh
That's
yeah,
insane.
oh yeah," And I mean, a lot of these things are sort of the sad tragedies of that these people come back and seem to be able to mimic the family, that the characteristics of the proposed dead person enough that they can convince members of the family, that they actually survived. Now, why,
What happened
you
with
know,
that kid? Oh, what's his name? It was that kid that went missing, and then like 10 years later, someone turned up pretending to be him
right,
to make money and stuff. I was like, you heartless bastard! How could you?
right. It seemed to me like that. I mean, Anastasia Romanoff was supposedly lived. You know what I mean? When clearly,
They found a body. They just couldn't identify it.
right. But I'm saying that a person did show up, saying that she was her, and that she had lost her memory and was, and that she was protected because they had all the jewels sewn into their um, inside of their clothing that deflected a bullet, and she wasn't brutally murdered, and she got away. I mean, and that was the way that
And then
was.
she fell in love with John Cusack.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was her servant at the time. Oh wait, we're talking
Really,
about like actual.
really
Okay.
doing this, are we? We're really using Disney movies as source material.
No, that's a true
It's not a
story.
Disney movie.
It's not what I'm saying is that's a true happening. You can look it up. The fact that they made a Disney movie out of it.
It wasn't a Disney movie, y'all. It was a Fox movie.
Oh, was it? Yes. And
I'm just saying.
it does not mean Tom Hanks does not run the Polar Express in December.
Because we all know he does.
Yeah,
Of
clearly he
course
does.
He's Tom Hanks. He can do whatever he wants to.
He can do
Exactly.
what he pleases. He's Tom Hanks.
He's Tom Hanks. I mean, he could play Mr. Rogers.
He's Tom effing Hanks.
Tom effing Hanks. Who apparently eats children, but that's part of why we love him, because some kids are just assholes. I mean,
Well, you see,
what?
but that's what I'm saying is, from that standpoint, again, there's a prime example. I mean, and even if you could determine who started the rumor that Tom Hanks eats babies, it wouldn't matter, because they'd say, "Oh, that's fair game. Say whatever you want to." And so every narrative that you can create about somebody in today's world, you can sort of get away with. It's like I was sort of saying to somebody earlier that I mean, when we were children, when I was a child, right, you didn't have to worry about social interactions too much. You know what I mean? You weren't going to be the subject of international news or whatever. You weren't going to have to worry about whether somebody on the East Coast didn't like you because you said something. Now you have to be worried about that. You know what I mean? Because your Facebook feed goes everywhere, and so yeah, somebody takes a disturbing turn against you. I mean, as Richard would like to say, it's Jodie Fosterism. You see? Yeah.
Jodie Fosterism. What do you mean,
Yeah.
Jodie Fosterism?
Well, like somebody.
The completely logical belief that someone brought around the downfall of Western civilization through a series of easily provable events.
Right. And so Jodie Foster is the idea that some relatively unknown person becomes transfixed with you and tries to then appeal to you by taking things to the nth degree, creating some butterfly effects that ripples through society, and now realizing that two anonymous people in different parts of the world.
Okay,
can
okay.
then-
Let's be real. What happened? Okay, because you're getting some things wrong here. Jodie Foster knew John Hinckley. Okay, she put him up to it. It was all part of her plan. That she was like, "Oh, John, do you know what would really impress me?" You know, that's what happened.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
get that. Let's get that straight.
yeah.
I mean, this wasn't all some accident of fate. It was clearly Jodie Foster bringing about the downfall of human civilization.
Yeah, and so Jodie Foster, and I'm sure at this point in time, Jodie probably realized that she may or may not have been a lesbian, who then confided in her friend to say, "Oh, hey, John Hinckley, I know I know I'm not into dudes, but can you totally kill Reagan?"
Listen, lesbians can force themselves to have sex with men. All right.
Oh no, I understand that.
All she has to do is turn the charm on a little bit. Be like, "Hey, John, kill this dude for me." It's super impressive.
It's like the more you tell him that he's wrong, the more ludicrous his claims become.
No, it's actually an interesting thing. It is here's the thing. At a certain point in time, I don't know if you guys know this, I made some very strange claims about the Bigfoot world. And this is
like a pterodactyl.
Yeah. And so this is just an
No, I'd never heard that before.
No, okay. Well, this is an extension
Never
of the
turned up.
Yeah, well, this is an extension of the fact that this is what happens in real life. That sometimes the more you present evidence against something, the more it actually enhances their belief in the subject. You see, that's what I'm saying is there's a concept that's true with that. The more you question somebody's story, the more they believe in it. It's a phenomenon, and that's kind of the way that the Jodie Foster argument goes with Richard. The more you make arguments against it, the more he's going to argue for it.
It's because he's a stubborn one.
Yeah, but
it's
see, that's part
right, and you two just won't accept it.
Well,
invent all these radical fantasies where you're living in a world where this didn't happen. When I'm giving you the facts straight up.
Mm-hmm,
right,
mm-hmm.
Right, and so all I'm saying is that, logically, scientifically, and emotionally, are two different things. We do know scientifically that people don't like to be wrong, but that's a preference, and that
I'm not wrong, so that's handy.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
Stop kissing his ass, Kevin.
No, I'm saying this is part of it. This is actually a very, very valid. This is one of the most genuine conversations I've had about Bigfoot in a long time.
But it's not about Bigfoot. It's about Jodie Foster.
Right. But, take out, cut out Jodie Foster.
Take out Jodie Foster. Bigfoot is the reason why.
Insert Bigfoot. You got your same argument. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just being a little bit too mad.
Okay, so apologies to Robert Walker, but I'm not going to talk about the stuff I don't care about again. And I don't really care about Jimmy Hoffa whatsoever. I mean, the dude just made too many enemies, and that's why he's dead. That's sad, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. And one day that'll happen to me, because I've made a lot of it.
Who could possibly be your enemy, Kevin?
I don't know.
Bob. That's an nasty Bob Gimlin. One day you'll turn up missing, and tomorrow will be like, he was going to meet Bob Gimlin, and now he's just vanished off the face of the earth, and we'll all be.
Well, I could be lucky. Like I said,
Bob
I've hung out
Gimlin
with
totally ate him.
Bob Gimlin. I am a big, heavy guy, so it might be, that he just wants a joint. You know what I mean? Like a joint of meat. You know what I mean? I'm not saying a joint. So, like, if he could just hack off a
Bob Gimlin gets high and then he gets hungry.
Well,
gets the munchies. It all
He's
ties
got the
together.
munchies. Oh my gosh. Mind
if you
blown.
could just cut off a leg of Kev, and roast that over the spit, I might actually get away with it. If that was gonna, satisfy his hunger.
So, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, your plan is to offer them your limbs. Just so I'm clear.
Just be like,
Hey,
Here, take a leg and leave me alone.
Clearly, as part of The Walking Dead, that was Herschel's strategy.
oh, don't get me started with her. No. You don't bring up Herschel. How fucking dare you?
Too close to the bone. Too close to the bone.
You could talk about Glenn, what is it, Glenn? You could talk about anybody, don't you? Talk about Herschel. Rude.
Did you cry when Herschel finally got
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about the real.
It was like super traumatic.
It was so traumatic that someone leaked to me what was going to happen, and I didn't even. Yeah, no, I've seen it from a thing, but I didn't actually watch the entire episode.
Yeah.
I was just like, nope. If I don't see the whole episode, he doesn't die. It doesn't matter that I know how he died and that I've seen him die. If I don't watch the whole episode, he didn't die.
Yeah,
it's like Serenity. If I don't watch all of Serenity, that certain character that dies, that was one of my favorites, doesn't die.
Boss dies. There's nothing you can do about that.
Stop it.
He dies. He gets shot in the chest by a reaver.
Well, all I'm saying is that after Herschel left the program, I will say that diplomatically, after he left the program and after they decided to get rid of Glenn, that was it. Mm-hmm. Never watched another episode ever again.
I have never watched a single episode of The Walking Dead.
Oh, it's so good. It's really good. I will watch it with you.
I'm good.
You could be like me and you can just hope that Rick dies every episode.
I mean, it's no Shaun of the Dead. I will say that. Shaun of the Dead is the masterpiece of zombie films of all times.
Gonna disagree with you there, Kevin.
What
Simon Pegg and let him die a very slow and painful death.
Oh, so are you saying that? Well, I mean, Cockneys versus Zombies, if you haven't seen it, is a pretty good film.
I've been meaning to watch that.
Yes.
The definitive zombie movie is always going to be Dawn of the Dead, okay?
You don't think Zomboat was wonderful?
Zomboat wasn't a movie.
It wasn't. It was a TV show and it was fucking epic.
It was the best thing I've ever seen on ITV. That's for damn sure.
Yes. That's not... I can't agree with that. But, because Coronation Street is on ITV, and you cannot beat Coronation Street. Although, I will say, for example, we were discussing the roles provided to people from Northern Ireland lately on ITV shows like Coronation Street. You have to be a thief, a drunk and a thief, a drunk and a pervert, or, I mean, then Sab said to me, "Yeah, well, that's all the Irish people I know."
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with such ironclad logic.
Well,
but sorry, I'm an EastEnders fan, so screw
I understand.
Coronation Street.
Well, I would imagine that Coronation Street would be a little close to the bone, living in Northern England.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's a battle of soap wars. It's like Days of Our Lives versus Passions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was throwing that in for the people who actually listen to this program in the United Kingdom or Canada that watch Coronation Street or have a BritBox.
I have BritBox.
Well, there you go. You can see the last 2 years of Coronation Street or EastEnders on there. But
Cool.
Once they got rid of Kat from EastEnders, you can forget it. I'm never going to watch another show.
She's back. She's been back for a while.
What? I didn't know that.
What?
What? You gotta understand. Whenever they took
Are we channeling Dark Side Phil now? Is that what we're doing?
Well, no, I'm just saying that once they cut Kat, what was her last name? It's not Kat Deely. It was Kat. Who?
Slater.
Oh, Kat Slater. Kat Slater was the bomb. To me, that was the perfect English woman that you could even imagine. Just totally mouthy and a badass, and probably a little bit of a drunk.
A lot of a drunk, but yeah, she came back last year. 2 years ago, before the epidemic.
Oh, so maybe that's why I didn't see it, because I started to watch it again, and then it just seemed like
no, she left for a while, and then she came back, and then she left again, and she came back. Alfie's not in it anymore though, so
yeah,
she's single. She's dating Phil Mitchell currently. I can believe that.
Are you kidding me?
I know, right? We were all shocked, but
I mean, it was bad enough when Sharon is like still working around Phil. I mean, what has Phil got to do with it? Why doesn't somebody just beat the crap out of Phil and leave him there? I don't know.
Well, he was shot once,
Yeah.
He was shot.
Well, yeah, that's a good excuse for, as we would say in Northern Ireland, if he was shot once, he should have been shot more times back then, because he dead. You got to get rid of Phil Mitchell. I mean, Phil Mitchell and Grant Mitchell, but then Grant Mitchell's doing all sorts of other things. The actor.
He's so lame. He's doing prison documentaries on ITV, and he's just so hammy. I'm like, dude, you're a soap opera actor. Just accept it and stop trying to do other stuff.
He's trying to be hard. He was doing sort of things with military forces for a long time, and it's just like, no, just don't. Just please stop. Nope, nobody thinks you're real.
You know what SAS stands for, don't you? Super Army Soldiers. Okay, we've gone so far off topic, it's not even a
And it's past time.
And it's past time. Okay, we will return next week, despite the hopes of many, where we will talk about the super duper awesome Alcatraz breakout. It's a topic I care a great deal about. And,
the Anglin brothers.
The homies for life broke out of the rock.
With what I would imagine would be quite a lot of help from somebody.
Yeah, with help and surfboards and all sorts. It's a brilliant chat. It's a brilliant tale, and I will discuss it next week here for your viewing pleasure. Any final thoughts, gents, before we call it a night?
Nope.
Cue the mumbles.
So I've got to go, guys, because clearly I've got to see Kat Slater on EastEnders and remind myself of what I like to do as a child for Kat Slater.
Okay.
Disco stuff.